Oy. Oh, hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to my stream and yet another video and another chapter. Working on this guy here. That's our USAF 2A, sorry, let me try this again. It's the USAF B-2A Spirit. Stealth bomber. This one's by Model Collect, a 1/72nd scale kit. We're gonna run the intro and we'll get into it. Okay, so we are back and we're going to continue on this little bird. I say little, but it's a little kind of figuratively. This is a big bird. So we've got our fuselage halves together. I went and put in the canopy and I've masked this off so it is ready for painting. That's all fine and good. We have a little bit of masking going on that I've done around the perimeter of our bomb bay. I already know I am going to have to do a little bit of touch-up on the white and everything once this is done. But we've got a couple of more pieces to put together on this little bird, and before we can get to any painting. We might get to putting a primer coat on today, but probably not. And what's left to do is really not going to take very long as far as installation goes. Let's change the camera and we'll just do what this takes, okay? So, we've got our main fuselage here, and after everything was done and put together, I did notice our little gaps. We've got a little bit of a step right here that's not quite lined up, and then right here on the point, the step that what is high on this side becomes low in here. And kind of same here, we've got a step here, it's low. Get the camera angle, you might be able to see it here. See that step right there? It's sticking up right there. I don't think it's going to be really noticeable when it's all done. But yeah, and since it's the same on this side, it's almost looking like that's what it's supposed to be, except for this little part here. But this ain't, you know, it's not really going together. I could really, if I really squeezed it hard, I might be able to flatten that out, but I don't think it's really going to happen. So I don't think at this point that's really an important thing. It's not really going to be noticeable. It's very, very subtle. Now let's put on our little tail. So I did test fit this thing already, and it would not go in the hole. Okay, the plug was too big for the hole. Width wise it's fine, but height I had to trim away a little bit in there just to get this to fit in there. So I didn't do just one side, I trimmed the top and the bottom, shaved a little bit off with my knife, and I got it in there so that it'll go in now. From the top it looks really nice. The gap is, you know, the same as everything else pretty much. But the bottom we've got a big gap, so that's going to have to be filled in with some putty. So let's put some glue on that and get her lined up, and see, that's tight, right? She ain't going to fall out. See, she ain't moving. It's a tight fit. So yeah, like I said, it's well, it's just one of those things. So let's put a little glue on our stub here. All four corners, why not? I don't think much of this is really making contact other than the stud, the stub, whatever you want to call it. There we go, we're in. So the important thing is that I'm going to line up our two corners so that she's flush. We've got a nice constant line going across here, right? That's what I want on both edges. As far as lining everything up, that's what we're going to do, and we're just going to leave it like that. I'm going to run some extra thin on there just to make sure that it's, you know, we got some contact on each edge, so why not glue those edges too, right? Let's just run that in there. And and in there. There we go. So wherever the glue wants to run in, that's good. In fact, in the center here, if I catch it in the right light, I can see through it where it's not actually connecting in there, which is what the putty is for, right? That's what I use the putty for, to fill in those holes. And get rid of those gaps. Okay, so now we're going to turn this little bird into a big bird. Okay, and how are we turning it into a big bird? By putting the wings on this thing. Where did I put my wings? Oh yeah, I put them over here. Okay, so remember from last time we added some putty to all this. Oh, first time chat. Hey, I make custom art that really helps the channel stand out. Mind if I show you a few examples? I'm not really interested right now, but thank you for the offer, Emily Madison Kills 32. I appreciate it, but I'm not really needing that right now. Thanks. So we got our putty put on, and this is all dried now, and she's ready for installation. So again, I wanted to point out the fact that you're going to have to trim off this one of these tabs. You're either doing it on this side or you're going to do it on the fuselage side, because you're going to have a nightmare of a time trying to get these to line up. And even at that, I wound up having to shave down. Well, you can check out my links down below on my page, and you can check out my Instagram and Discord and stuff like that. So yeah, I had to chamfer this edge down. After this was all done and assembled, I had to chamfer that down just to get that to fit in the hole in there. She did not want to go in, but you notice I'm putting it in at the front first so that I can get the back side in there, and it's still a really tight fit, and she don't really want to go, but she goes just like that, and it holds on its own. Like, hold that upside down now, and it's not dropping out. It's a tight fit. Okay, I do notice, yeah, this panel line's pretty good. It's nice and tight, but then we've got a bit of a gap here. This one's not bad, and of course back here where my little tab was broken off, and that's been fixed. It is what it is. But our alignment at the very front is not the best, and then we go underneath, and our panel line is quite noticeably bigger than everything else. It's not the end of the world. I can deal with that. There is really no flex. You can flex it a little bit. There's a little bit of play in there, but if you close it here, you're just opening it up on the top. So which side do you want? I'm just going to have it straight and make sure that it's even, and that's basically what I want. That's my goal for this. So I'm going to pull this back out so I can put some glue on our tabs and shove them in there. So let's put some glue on our big fat tab here. Put that down for a sec. And some glue on our front tab. And just in case, I'm going to throw some on that slab there. Okay. Line it up again. And line it up again. Come on. There we go. We're in. Alright. She's in her new home. And I'm going to run some extra thin through here, because it's really impossible to tell what kind of contact you got going on underneath there. The glue will find it though. The glue will find the contact, and that's the beauty of the extra thin stuff. So a good press in there, make sure that's nice and tight. going to need a lot of putty in here. Now, like I've said before, yes, I'm going to fill it in with putty, but I want to keep that panel line. Maybe not here at the front. Maybe I'd like to try and hide this part as much as I could to seem like a nice, smooth, solid piece going across here. There's probably no panel line there on the real plane, is my guess. I mean, technically, if you think about it, real life planes, your panel lines are about as deep as this, right? Real life planes, the panel lines are pretty shallow. So, but if we did it to scale, the panel, you'd never see any panel lines on a model kit, and that would be pretty boring. Okay, so that one's in. I'm going to take another sip of coffee and we'll grab another wing. The other wing is the same deal. Exact same. I'm going to put it in at the front here first and then slide that in like that. Okay, and she's a bit tight. There we go, just like that. And it's basically got the same, exact same thing going on here. Ironically, the little tab that did not break off does not line up quite as nicely as the one that did. So that's kind of funny. Okay, so glue on our stub. Okay, put that down, and then glue on here. Glue on there, and why not along there? Okay, line that up, and we're in. And now we've got a big bird. I put this thing together and then I went to, I was just curious about exactly how wide this thing is. And this thing is actually wider than the door frame of my room. To fit this in through flat like this, you can't do it. I'm about, I want to say 2 millimeters too wide to fit through a door without tilting it. So now she's huge and a little bit cumbersome to maneuver around. Yeah, big gap at the front here. That's disappointing. But there's literally nothing I can do about it. Flip it over without hitting my face. And yes, I can see through here. So there's not really a lot of contact other than our big tabs. And of course at the very back there. So that's it. So I'm just going to do this because yeah, our wings are huge. This is a big bird now. I'm curious. I'm going to grab my measuring tape and see just how wide this thing really is. Let me close up my glue. Actually, my glue doesn't want to close one-handed. So let's put her down without clicking my mouse by mistake. Okay, where's my measuring tape? I'm just curious. From tip to tip, what is the actual measurement of this thing? For you Americans, we are at 29.5 inches, aka 75 centimeters. That's a big bird. And this 1/72 scale, I can't even imagine how big this thing would be if it was 1/48 scale. I've already showed you guys the difference in the bomb, right? the GBU 57 bomb compared to, you know, this is 1/48 scale compared to 1/72. That is just crazy, crazy differences. Imagine this. This is huge. Like, to scale that up, just enormous, enormous. Huge, huge bomber. Anyway, so we got to put some putty in it. Now that we've got the glue in there and the wings are all on, we got to put some putty in these gaps, and then I've got to let it dry. So you can drop me a follow on Instagram. Okay. So we'll put some putty in here. Now, you guys have seen me do this before. You guys know I like to use the Vallejo putty. That's this stuff here, the Vallejo plastic putty. It's water-based, so it cleans up with, well, water. Cleans up with water. You don't have to worry about it. And because it's water-based, when it starts to dry, the water in it evaporates and kind of shrinks it down. Oh, I'm gonna need a paper towel here. The water in it shrinks, and then you retain your panel lines, which is really nice. I'm not sure I want to use it on the front because this one I want to eliminate the panel line. I'm going to keep this line going along here, especially because, well, because I feel like it. That's why. There's no other reason I feel like it. Just fill this in. Go. Again, the nice thing is this will retain this panel line, so later on you'll be able to see it. It just won't be such a big crater anymore. I will give them props. That does feel like it's pretty flush, a flush fit, even if it is just a big gap. I mean, it's not a perfect flush fit, but a little bit of sanding will clean that up. We got to sand this thing anyway, right? So okay, so there's one side. I got a little bit here that went into the other panel line. I don't really want that one, so I'm just going to do this with my knife and just kind of pull it out a little bit. I got a little bit of a hole there that missed, so we're just going to add a little bit more. Wipe that away. There we go. Let's do our little dovetail here. This one with this big gap down here. That's a lot to fill in. There we go. Give this a wipe along there. And wiping it, pull it out from here, so that's okay. We'll just fill that back in. Again, I want to retain this line, so let's do that. There we go. Okay, that one's filled in. I'm not going to bother filling these in where the upper and the lower fuselage meet. I don't see any point in filling those in. But you know what? Maybe I will. Maybe it'll make it so it's not quite such a step. Well, at least give the illusion. same thing on this side. Because this step becomes the opposite direction on this side. So there we go. Okay. So we got to do this all the way around, and I'm sure this is really exciting. I'm sure this is like you tuned in today to watch me put putty in a crack, right? I know you did. Honestly, I mean, let's look at this realistically. I know that 90% of you guys who watch my videos, you just skip through to the points that you're actually interested in, or to see the finished part of what I'm doing, which is why my channel analytics, I don't have a lot of watched hours, because people don't actually watch the entire duration of my videos. And I understand that. And I would probably do the same too. Something that I'm not really into. Okay, so this guy's putting putty in his wings for the next 20 minutes. I don't want to watch that. I'm just going to skip to when he's done. I get that. I totally do. I'd probably do the same thing. Probably do the same thing. Skip to the parts you're interested in, right? Let's see if I can. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Clean these out. This front one doesn't quite line up very well. So I know that this is going to shrink. I'm going to have to try and eliminate our panel line that's across the front. To try and eliminate this part of the gap, I'm going to have to use something other than this stuff, because this stuff shrinks. But I can still put it in here just as a bit of a filler, so that the next putty I use, I don't have to use quite so much. Unfortunately, I am going to have to use a lot, because our panel line it's a crater, really. So you're still going to see a big gap, but it's not going to be a big crater anymore. And that's the whole point of this. I don't want the crater. The fact that there's a wider panel line than anywhere else on the plane, that's okay. You're going to notice that. You're going to tell that's where the wing begins. What you're not going to be able to tell is that it was a great big hole going all the way through the whole plane. And because this plane is pretty dark in its color scheme, it's going to hide a lot of this stuff. across. Spot that didn't get filled in. Another one here. There we go. Okay, one more to do. One more to do. Let's flip her around. Start from the back, work our way to the front. This one is big because we got a little bit of a step here, but that's okay. And the fact that this fin is kind of pointing up a little bit, I want to leave that little bit of a gap just so you know this is still part of the wing going there. And that's why I want to leave it like that. When I say part of the wing, I mean part of the flap, or whatever you want to call it. Flap, control surface, aileron, whatever they call it. Almost done. For the front of the wing, where I want to eliminate this, I'm going to use a different putty. So I already told you guys that. I know. But I'm going to show you which putty. And that putty I'm going to have to apply and leave it for a day for it to really do its job and allow me to work on it. Okay, so that's that. So that doesn't really matter to me that it's kind of got a gap in there. That's all right. So that's that. So I'm going to put this upside down because I keep on messing with my masking tape. All right, so that's it for the Vallejo putty. Now I got white fingers, but that's okay because it all washes off with water. The putty I'm going to use is this stuff here. To me, a polyester putty. This is a two-part stuff, and depending on where you are, it can be hard to find this stuff. I actually ordered this stuff from Amazon Japan. Amazon Canada didn't have it. Amazon USA didn't have it, but Amazon Japan. This is a two-part putty, and I opened the box up from the wrong end. The box is kind of unique in that they have this up here for the other part that sits in the top of it here. See how this is? This lets this part sit in top. So you mix a little bit of this stuff with this, and then you can sculpt it and play around with it and do whatever. It is a putty. It's not like it's not like epoxy putty. This is polyester, and it's different, and it takes a while for it to dry, but that's okay. So what I want to do is I want to get like a piece of plastic or something like that. I'll get one of these. Okay. And we're going to mix some up. So tight. she's tight. So take some of this. That's probably enough. I don't need that much. And she does kind of stink. And this is going to come out like a little bit of a noodle. There's really not a lot in here. There we go. And that's probably all I need right there. Whew, she stinks. So I'll mix this up. And she's going to become like a yellowish color. Now I saw A4 Garage, the master at car building, model cars. He is an absolute master at it. He uses this stuff, I think, almost exclusively. Almost. I say almost. Okay, so all I'm going to do is apply this on our edge here, like this, going around to the bottom, like that. Okay, and I'm going to leave that just like that. I'll do the same on this one. So I'm kind of pressing it in, but also I'm leaving it thick. I just hit my monitor with the plane. There we go. Okay, so I have to leave that and not touch it now for the whole day. Okay, so that's what I got to do. I have to leave that. I want to try and eliminate that panel line. Now I may not be perfect. Well, I know I'm not perfect, and it's not going to be a perfect job, but it's going to be as close as I can get it to totally hiding that panel line. Okay, let's clean this off. And unfortunately, this is going to be a fairly short video because now I need to leave this. Okay, yeah, this is a short video because I need to let that dry and cure at least for the rest of the day, and work on it later, and then I can start doing some sanding on it and get that smoothened out. But yeah, like I just said, that's where I need to leave it. So that means that's where I'm going to leave this video and call this one a day. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Emily Madison, for inviting me to check out your Instagram. Yeah, and thanks guys for watching. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, I'd really appreciate that, or down over there. You can do that, please. And hit the like button too. Leave a comment if you feel like it. Check out my links down in the description box below. And you can check out my Instagram and my Twitch and my X channel and stuff like that. Every time I finish a build, I upload a bunch of pictures of it to my Instagram, so you can check those out if you feel like it. Other than that, yeah, I guess that's going to be it for today. We'll let this dry and we'll come back. I don't know if I'll have any chance to work on this tomorrow, but anyway, next couple of days anyway. I want to thank you guys again, and we'll see you all on the next one.